welcome to Web of Stories. I am Melinda, and I am here to tell you what I am reading right now. And I have a confession to make. This video is not going to look much different than the video I gave last week. This was Thanksgiving week, we hosted Thanksgiving, so a lot of time was spent cooking and cleaning. My house is always a mess. So cleaning and cooking and getting ready to host Thanksgiving. But then on top of that, we had some appointments and things like that that sort of added to the busyness of the week. And I just didn't get the reading done that I would have liked. So I'll tell you where I am now, and hopefully next week I'll have different books. So I thought I'd be done with this one. Agatha Christie, An Elusive Woman by Lucy Worsley. I'm not done with it. I mean, hopefully I'll finish it tomorrow. I don't have that. I think I'm about 70 pages more to go. Really enjoying this book. Now, I do want to give a slight little warning about this book. One thing I really like about this book is that it doesn't spoil Agatha Christie mysteries, with one exception. And that exception is The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which fortunately I have read before. However, I was spoiled for that book when I read it by David Suchet in a television documentary. So I don't think that David Suchet needed to spoil this for me. I think that was unnecessary. However, I realized reading this that you can't talk about The Murder of Roger Ackroyd and its importance without spoiling it. So if you are interested in this and you have not read The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, you need to read that book first. That's the only book that I think that she spoils, at least so far in it. Otherwise, she's really good about, she'll quote a book, but she'll footnote it. So you can look back in the footnotes to see what book it's from. But otherwise, as far as just reading it, you're not going to know which book it's from. So she does a good job of avoiding spoilers, except for that one. And in this case, I think it's unavoidable. So hopefully I will finish with this one tomorrow. It's good. It's just Thanksgiving. It's kind of fell by the wayside for Thanksgiving. And on my Kobo, I am reading Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. People, I got to tell you, this book is something. I knew going into, this is what I knew going into it. It was like near future dystopian, and it dealt a lot with anti-Asian racism. That's all there, and I was prepared for that. But what I wasn't prepared for, and I don't mean this in a bad way, just as a content way, what I wasn't prepared for is a lot of this deals with attacks on education and information and book banning and things like that. So a lot of what is actually going on in a lot of our nation right now. And it's something that's actually really important to me. Not that books are banned, but the books aren't banned and that actual education is taught and those sorts of things. So I'm very moved by it and I'm very affected by it. And it is kind of shaking me, but it is very well written. It is a beautifully written book. It's actually a very beautiful story. There's really three main characters in it. There is Bird, who's the boy. He's a 12-year-old boy. And then his father and his mother. There's a couple other peripheral characters, but those three characters are really well done. Even though, like with his father, we don't really get things from his father's viewpoint unless we do in the last 20% of the book, which I still have to go. But we so far have not gotten anything from Bird's father's viewpoint, but I still understand that character. I understand the motivations of the characters. These are characters that I could see myself in, even though I'm not Asian, because a lot of what they're facing, that's not what we would all face it. There's the anti-Asian sentiment, yes, but then there's also just the wrong turns that our country could make. It, in some ways, in a very pointed way, it reminds me of The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Someone asked Margaret Atwood how she comes up with these sort of horrible things in her dystopian, and she says she doesn't come up with any of this. This is all stuff that happened or happens somewhere in the world. And this dystopian world in Our Missing Hearts is made up of things that we are currently dealing with, and that's probably the most frightening part of it. The other thing I want to say about this book is I've seen a lot of people and read a lot of people said they're reluctant to read it because they have read Celeste Ng's other books and they didn't really like them. So they're not sure if this one's for them. I have not read Everything I Never Told You, but I have read Little Fires Everywhere. But from what I understand, those two books, if you were to read them, it would be pretty clear they're by the same author. This book does not feel like it's from the same author who wrote Little Fires Everywhere. So if you choose not to read this only because of past experience with the author, I would give you a little nudge to maybe reconsider that, because this is quite different from at least one of her earlier books, and I'm assuming the other earlier book as well. But I'm really enjoying it. I hope to finish it very soon. Maybe even tonight, depending if I go to bed and read it in bed at a decent time. What else am I still working on? Oh, I am still working on Madly Deeply. Ever since I realized that I had missed a couple days and I wasn't going to finish this on November 30th, I've become a little haphazard with reading it, but that's okay. I'm enjoying it. Last night I introduced my kids to Galaxy Quest, and it was fun to watch that after reading this book. That was the first Alan Rickman movie I had rewatched after reading about him making it in this book. I had planned to do Sense and Sensibility earlier, but things happened and I ended up watching something else. So it was really a lot of fun. He's a very, it would be interesting if he had ever actually written a novel or written, something consciously prose, something like that, because his writing in his journal, which is just getting his thoughts out on paper, it's, stream of consciousness sort of thing. It's very engaging. So it would have been interesting if he had ever written anything like that for us to read. But I am really enjoying this. But again, I'm limiting myself to 15 pages a day. So now I'm going to try and finish by December 31st. So this is a book that I will finish before the year is over. And I'm just reading it when I have a chance. So then I also started this week, I started a new short story collection, Agatha Christie, Midwinter Murder. So there's a thing that happens in short story collections where you'd be reading short stories and then boom, there's a novella, and it always throws me off. Whoever compiled this short story collection, because this isn't one that Agatha Christie compiled, this was done by editors of her books. They did something smart as they put the novella at the beginning of the book. So the book starts with the novella of Three Blind Mice, which from what I understand is the basis of The Mousetrap. So I'm still in the midst of reading that. It's really good. It's a locked room mystery. It's very, snow and winter is very important to the book, to the story. So it's a really good one to read this time of year. And it's Agatha Christie. I have high expectations. Well, I have an expectation that this, like every other short story collection, will be 4 stars. But I had a great time with The Last Seance, so I think this will be a very similar experience. So I'm going on that one. And then finally, The Count of Monte Cristo, our buddy, Monte Cristo. I'm still reading it. I am on schedule to finish in mid-December. I am enjoying it. It's kind of at the peak of things right now, so I don't have much to say until I finish the book, but I am just plodding along with that thing. So that's what I've got going right now. I really hope that I will have different books to talk about next week. I actually tend to get a fair amount of reading done in December, especially after Christmas and that low period. So November was a very low month for reading for me, not just volume-wise. I didn't read as many books. I will not have read as many books as I normally do this month, but that's fine. It's nonfiction November and it's Thanksgiving and there's a lot going on. So we'll see. I've already surpassed my Goodreads goal. I'm thinking of setting my goal next year at 144 books, because that's an average of 12 books a month, which I think is doable. So this month is kind of showing me if that is or is not doable, but I'm on track for that. So hopefully this week I will finish off some of these books and I'll have something new next week. I'd love to hear what you're reading right now, so you can comment on that below, or if you have any suggestions or whatever you want to say, just want to say hi, that's great too. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much. Bye.